Okay, I'd like to talk about President Trump's ban. The ban is supposed to last approximately 90 days. It could last more depending on circumstances. The ban affects Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Now, there's a fake chart going around on the internet. I saw it a couple times a few days ago that has a listing of countries and all the Americans killed by the people from that country. And all the 7 countries that I mentioned have the number 0 next to them, which is false because last time I checked, Afghanis, Iraqis killed American troops. Last time I checked, Libyans killed Americans in Benghazi. Last time I checked, the USS Cole, which my friend was on, was in Yemen. Okay, last time I checked, Somalia had killed a fucking shitload of people. And even the knife attack in Ohio State was from a guy from Somalia. Now, the ban is not a Muslim ban. It is a cultural ban from those 7 countries. And about 80% of the Muslims in the world are not affected, including Muslims in Egypt, India, okay, a couple other places. And I personally believe Saudi Arabia should have been on the list. That's my opinion. But some people, including maybe Rudy Giuliani, are saying Saudi Arabia had a come to Allah moment. And they're cooperating a little more, and well, I don't know, but that's maybe they know things we don't know. But I'm hearing Saudi Arabia is a lot nicer, But those are the 7 countries. Now, this ban does not affect American citizens, nor does it affect permanent alien residents and stuff like that. People who have been in the United States for a while. It merely affects guys that are coming from those countries to the United States. So if you are an American citizen and your grandfather was born in Iraq, you can still come back here. Okay? Now, some people are saying that Mo Farah cannot come back. I think Mo Farah himself said it. Mo Farah is a runner from Great Britain. He was born in Somalia, escaped when he was about 8, came to Great Britain, became a British subject, became a Knight of the Realm, ran in 2 Olympiads for Great Britain, and he spends a lot of time between the United States and Great Britain. Okay? He is by definition not a Somali. Even though he was born in Somalia, he left there many years ago. He is by definition a British subject and is exempted from the ban. Okay? And he's exempted from the ban. There was one gentleman who was en route to America when President Trump signed the order. That gentleman already had family living here. He worked, I don't know if he was from Afghanistan or Iraq, but he worked as a translator aiding the U.S. military. He is here. They pulled him aside. They double-checked him. They realized that he had special circumstances. They let him in. And there are special circumstances being created for guys who gave the U.S. vital information. Don't forget, Jessica Lynch's unit was found because of a whistleblower. The Hussein brothers were found because of whistleblower. A village elder saved Marcus Luttrell's life. A Muslim man helped Dakota Meyer. There is even a man over here who's been over here. I'm going to read his book when I get a chance to buy it. Alias Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker is an alias of a Iraqi man who helped Chris Kyle and Chris Kyle's team of Marines and SEALs. Chris Kyle was a SEAL, but he mostly worked with Marines as a sniper. He was loaned out to the Marine Corps a lot. This gentleman, Chris Kyle himself, said that this gentleman saved more lives than he did. Now, when Chris Kyle says that about you, you're a badass, okay? So there are a whole bunch of guys that are not affected by this bill, by this order. Now, a lot of people are saying it's unconstitutional. Okay, first and foremost, show me where the Constitution says that a foreign person has a right to come to the United States of America. Federal law written in 1952 I'm not going to quote it, don't have the quote in front of me. Federal law in 1952 says the President of the United States has a right, if not an obligation, to ban foreigners from entering if those foreigners would present a danger to the United States. And President Carter, who was obviously not the most conservative Republican, literally during the Iran hostage problem, when Iran took over the American embassy, took hostages for 444 days. Okay, well, President Carter kicked out Iranians that were over here. There were Iranian students on visas in American colleges not bothering anybody, and President Carter threw them the fuck out. He did. My goofy mug today. And Chuck Schumer pretended to cry. Chuck Schumer doesn't pretend to cry when Hillary Clinton refuses help, 600 requests for help. Chuck Schumer doesn't pretend to cry when 4 Americans are killed in Benghazi because Hillary Clinton is a fool. Chuck Schumer doesn't cry when Hillary Clinton stands over their dead bodies and lies to their mothers. Chuck Schumer doesn't pretend to cry when ISIS is destroying relics that are literally written about in the Bible. Chuck Schumer doesn't pretend to cry when ISIS is taking over the Middle East. Chuck Schumer doesn't pretend to cry when ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram and Hamas and Hezbollah behead people and cut people in half and rape people and throw gays off rooftops. Chuck Schumer doesn't pretend to cry about Paris or Brussels or the Orlando nightclub or Boston. He's just a fucking baby. See, Chuck Schumer's problem is that he is a puppet and he does whatever the Democratic Party tells him to do. And the Democratic Party told him to pretend to cry on camera with a whole bunch of Muslim guys standing behind him. So, and the ban is about 90 days long. It's set up until we have a vetting process to interrogate people. It could take 6 months to a year to set that process up. It could take another 2 years to execute that process. Sebastian Gorka, who was a brilliant terrorism expert recently hired by President Trump, he is the son of refugees. His parents were detained in a refugee camp and they were interrogated for months on end before they were allowed to see a picture of the United States, let alone come here. If you looked at the gymnastics world, okay, if you'll notice the gymnastics world, a lot of gymnasts are descendants of defectors. A lot of gymnast coaches are defectors. If you look at the Magnificent Seven, 3 members of the Magnificent Seven were from communist states, communist countries. One was a Russian Jew whose family had been here for a couple of generations. One was a Chinese American who had been here for 1 generation, first generation American, born here. The other is obviously Romanian, born here to immigrant parents. Bella and Marta Karolyi, who were obviously not the nicest guys in the world, but Bella and Marta Karolyi are the greatest gymnastics coordinators in history. Bella retired a couple of years ago, and Marta just retired last year from the sport. They are Romanian defectors. They actually started out their career working with the Romanian gymnastics team, and then we're in America, and they say, you know what, we're staying here. And their prize pupil, Nadia Comaneci, was followed by the secret police for several months when they defected. Because once the Karolyis failed to return home, secret police put a tail on Nadia Comaneci, and she had to shake all her tails, and eventually escaped Romania. Came to America, married Bart Conner. We had a lot of people, not just gymnastics coaches and parents of gymnasts and stuff like that, but we had a lot of people during the Cold War coming to America from Romania, the Soviet Union, China, obviously Cuba. They're still coming from Cuba. Cuba is a communist country. Now, this was a propaganda thing for the United States because with all these great people, you know, great athletes, great coaches, great scholars coming from the Soviet Union and other sister communist states coming to America, that was a big propaganda machine because capitalism is better than communism, okay? But it was also a very valuable intelligence thing because a lot of times the U.S. government wanted to know what they knew. You know, Bella Karolyi, Marta Karolyi, they were gymnast instructors the government controlled them basically. The government ran the Romanian gymnastics program and funded the sport. Okay, what did they know about the government? And every guy off the street, you can get a guy from Romania or Soviet Union, okay, and he'll know about what the secret police do. He'll know about what the government propaganda machine does. Okay, so having them over here was excellent because they could brief and debrief them on what was going on in the world. They still had to come forward and tell the United States government or the Canadian government, whichever country they landed in, or one of the Western European countries, I am this person, I am from here, I seek political asylum. Paperwork, interrogation, fingerprints, photographs, government checkups now and then, stuff like that. The government still watched them. The government let them in, but the government watched them. And the biggest threat was sabotage or espionage, not terrorism. So just interrogate them a lot and keep away from government secrets. If a guy comes here from Romania and says, I just escaped Romania, let me stay here, okay? Don't let him work in a nuclear power plant, okay? But there was a system in place to vet people. And President Trump wants to have a system in place to vet these people. Who are they? Where are they from? What are they doing here? Do they want to live in freedom or do they want to kill people? And if you look at Europe let in every refugee available. They let them all in, with almost no exception. Some refugees ended up being bums and lowlives who wanted to mooch off what we call welfare in America. Some of the refugees actually went around enforcing Sharia law because they believed in it, which meant they would actually attack women for being without a male escort or having their skirt too high or, dressing too risque. Women were raped by refugees in Europe because they came from a mentality where they believed the woman was subordinate to them and they could rape her because she wasn't a human being. Other guys were flat out committing fucking terrorism. Bombing, stabbing, shootings. It was nightclubs, restaurants, concerts, Paris, Brussels, truck attacks. Even Istanbul, which is not exactly Europe, but Istanbul, there was a bombing. London, there was an off-duty soldier in London. The guy cut his fucking head off with a butcher knife and said to a camera, "We are very sorry to do this to you. We are very sorry to..." And ISIS and Al Qaeda, among other groups, have promised we will infiltrate the refugee population. And when President Trump looks at Europe and sees bombings and shootings and stabbings and beheadings and rapes, he realizes they weren't fucking lying. And I had a friend of mine, my friend, the college professor, one of our students, her. She was talking about, there was a failed shooting plot that was uncovered in a school where someone called the police right away and they stopped the school shooting. And I said, we've got school shooters here already. She wanted to talk about the refugees. And I said, okay, honey, we got school shooters. You want to have terrorists on top of that? And a lot of guys are saying, well, what about white supremacists? What about Tim McVeigh? What about guys like that? I'm like, that's okay. We have problems in this country. You got school shooters, you got gang members, you got drug dealers. I understand that, but do you want to have terrorists on top of that? That's what your argument is. Your argument is, we have a lot of problems in this country already. We might as well have terrorists. What difference does it make? And I had a friend of mine from high school, another friend of mine. She unfriended me yesterday. I'm sorry, but she did. And she's arguing about the refugee problem, and I was arguing with a friend of hers on her page, and then I posted a picture on my page about locking your doors, and she responded to me on that. And I said it to her on her page on a conversation 2 days ago, and I said it on a conversation on my page yesterday. She has a son and daughter. She's married, son and daughter. And I never met her kids or her husband, but she has a son and daughter. And I said, okay, you have 50,000 refugees that want to come here. It's probably more, but 50,000. 50,000 refugees want to come here. You are confident that none of them is a terrorist. Not one. Out of 50,000 people, not one of them is a terrorist. And if you're wrong, 50,000 people, 4,999 of them are cool. One person is a terrorist. That person is going to behead your daughter. And she got very upset. And I said, well, I'm sorry, honey, but that's the way it is. You want to argue, that's what it is, okay? We have 50,000 guys that want to come here. Okay, 50,000. Every single guy we're wrong about is a bomb going off, or a nightclub getting shot up, or a bunch of guys getting run over by a truck, or a bunch of guys getting stabbed, or a plane being hijacked. Okay? Because it only takes one guy to set off a bomb, one guy to hijack a plane. It only takes one guy. Now, hopefully a lot of them are cool. Hopefully we can vet them properly. Hopefully we can resettle some of them somewhere, either here in our country or in a safe zone like the president wants to set up. But for every one mistake you make, several American people will die, just like in Europe. For every one mistake you make. So if you make 5 mistakes, each of those 5 mistakes could kill 20 people. And you don't know if it's going to be a guy with a knife stabbing somebody, you don't know if it's going to be a guy with a suicide bomb, you don't know if it's going to be a guy driving a truck to a fucking crowd at a parade. Okay? Every one mistake you make gets people killed, and it could be one person killed or 1,000 people killed, depending on the mistake. So if we have 50,000 guys, and we make 75, 80 mistakes, that could be 400 or 500 guys dead. I come from a job where you don't take chances. You know how many times I had a guy in a car getting ready to run a red light, and I grabbed him and shoved him out of the way and the car stops. And I said, oh well, sorry about that. Sorry I grabbed you. Sorry I knocked you out of the way. Sorry I elbowed you. Better than me run over that car. That's what we got here, only to the nth degree. 50,000 guys. Every mistake kills people. Remember that. And the people they kill are you. They can kill you. They kill your mother. They kill your children. They kill your grandmother. They kill your neighbors. Okay? They bomb your kid's school. They bomb your workplace. Okay? That's what's going on here. That's the problem. Okay? And that's the problem the president has. The president has a problem where he's got at least 50,000 guys that want to come here, if not more. Or a lot more. And for every one mistake the president makes, you will die. So all the people that are protesting against the president is trying to save your life, as well as mine. The only difference is I know to appreciate him and you don't, because you're an idiot. Thank you.